don't know if you noticed yet or not, but I have literally just been reading them as I'm reviewing them. That is the purpose of this, you know, it is a first reaction to the issues before I've actually read through them properly, and just sharing what I know about what's going on in these issues as well. So let's get cracking with issue 6. Now we get the Thorns of the Briar Queen, and there is so much detail going on here and character for these Nighthaunts. It's tempting to get more than one really, just to help really break up those hordes of chain rasps. This is a set from the Age of Sigmar Underworlds game. The Nightfall was the not the expansion, but the season for it, and you could just split it so it's easier to store like that. But yeah, no, they're really nice, and it's nice to get them like this. So let's dive into this issue 799, and Thorns of the Briar Queen, discover the lost city of Shadespire and unbinding spells playthrough. Okay, so I touched on that in the other issue briefly, but we'll go into more detail here. So there's a little bit from the editor, and of course you got your index there, and then we have the Nighthaunt, Thorns of the Briar Queen. So over the centuries, Shadespire has trapped many adventurers within its strange illusory walls. The Briar Queen and her ghostly followers have been ordered to buy Nagash to punish those who entered the cursed streets of the Mirror City. Ooh. So there's a bit on Briar Queen and how once a mighty wizard, the Briar Queen has been driven mad by her imprisonment in the Night Vault. She now serves Nagash. She desires nothing more than revenge upon those who have wronged her. So there you go. She's just pissed off, like most Nighthaunt. There's a bit on how the Night Vault was created to hold Shadespire's enemies, and the people who lived in Shadespire were called the Cataphrines, and they were mad people, really. But anyway, when the Necroquake went off, the Night Vault opened and released a lot of nasties. And then of course you got some characters here and here. So there's a nice bit of read in there, and then of course the chain rasps and how the Briar Queen commands them. Now we learn about Shadespire. So Shadespire was once a city of wonder and magic, a vast metropolis rising from the forgiving earth of the realm of death. Unfortunately for the citizens of this great city, their magical creations drew the wrath of Nagash, and he cruelly cursed them all. So another expedition log. Again, I like these, really good, really read. And then there's a good story here. I mean, it's kind of a bittersweet story. Essentially, they just they're trying to find a way of immortality. They created this shade glass, and you could store souls in them, which is cool. So that's kind of like living for eternity. But Nagash got real peed off because they weren't paying him proper homage. You know, that's his realm. Souls are his bread and butter, and if you're keeping souls away from him, he ain't gonna be too happy. So he ended up cursing the entire city, wiping it off the face of the map essentially, and it's sort of trapped in its own bubble realm. So yeah, it's nasty. Shadespire now exists in a demi-realm of Ulgosh, also known as the Hidden Gloaming, and then the ruins of Shadespire are on the landmass of Penultima, at the edge of the Desert of Bones. So little war bands of people go there to find the infamous shade glass, because it could be used for whatever. Some are looking to use it, some are looking to sell it. And City Out of Time. So It's a bit more on that. And then we got Hammers of Sigmar, Steel Hearts champions. So where Thorns of the Briar Queen are from the Underworld game, so are Steel Hearts champions. So the Liberator Prime, Severin Steelheart and his warriors were sent to Shadespire to retrieve samples of magical shade glass. They became trapped within the walls of the Mirrored City instead. So yeah, it's just 3 models, but they're pretty tough. We will get them later on as well, so you get to play with those, which is cool. You got Oberyn the Bold, Severin Steelheart, and Angarad Bright Shield. And there's a little bit on how they're slightly different in personality, which is cool. And then we have some information on Shade Glass as well. So Stormcast are interested in Shade Glass because every time they get reforged, they lose a little piece of themselves, and that's the ultimate price of fighting in the name of Sigmar as a Stormcast. So each time you die, you get reforged, you lose a bit of yourself, and you sort of become more and more of a killing machine and less of that hero that you once were. So they're looking at Shade Glass as a way of maybe fixing that problem. So there you go, and you got your different ways of finding it. And then you have Chronicles of Terror from the Nighthaunt. So the Necroquake gave rise to the great armies of Nighthaunt. Oh, this is part 1, by the way. Woohoo! But these creatures have existed for thousands of years, albeit in smaller numbers. Their history is long and terrifying, punctuated by misery, death, and battles beyond count. So it's got a little breakdown from the Age of Myth. So what's it? The ruler of dead, Nagash claims rule over Shaish and constructed the great citadel and seat of power, Nagashizar. He charges his Mortarks with carrying out his orders across the realm. The time of new beginnings. So Sigmar and Nagash worked together, and they built loads of great cities. Later on you'll find out that Nagash actually hid quite a few things in each city as like a little backup plan, but for the most part they worked together pretty well. And yeah, then the Age of Chaos came. So Soulstorm, at the Battle of Dirgebeak, the undead suffer great losses and are unable to withstand the massive attack of demons of the Chaos God Khorne. Khorne craved the lands of fallen heroes in the realm of death, wanting to claim them as his own. In desperation, Nagash ripped forth the souls of 1,000 mortal prisoners, using them to fuel a great summoning. In response, the spirits of the entire underworld of Nordiri, a northerly section of the endless boneyard in Halost, answered the call. In life they were all once heroes, but he had put down their swords, claiming they would fight only for a cause, never for pay. In death, Nagash's curse had made them ruthless mercenaries who would combat any foe if their price in souls was met. Not very cool, huh? So yeah, use them to destroy an entire force, which is pretty cool. Fall of Dolorum. So it was one of the big cities, and it got its butt handed. The last ruler of those lands was Lady Elinda, who was cursed upon the death because she only cared about herself. Literally, as the place was being invaded by forces of Nurgle, she just sort of closed her eyes and ears to it. So yeah, that wasn't cool. Great Betrayals. Chain Race. Curtis Valentine, the False God, the False King, and Ruination. And then the whole realm gets absolutely swamped by forces of chaos. Cool. How to build the Thorns of Briar Queen. So, one page. So one page. So yeah, just follow the guide there, quite easy. And then painting your models. So of course you'll have to do what you've done with the previous stuff, paint these up with your white paint and then go over with malic oxide. Like so. And then we go to dry brushing. So we get the Corex white and we dry a bit on the tissue and then we just brush over the model. If you ever want to know if you've brushed enough off, you should just like brush over a rough knuckle, and if it leaves streaks you need to just wipe a bit more off, and if it just leaves a dusting it's perfect. So I'll cover that in another video. So look a bit like that. Cool ghosties. Spectral ambush, the arcane jewel. So you'll have Sandria Azurebolt fighting the Briar Queen and you're doing a little spell off. Nice. So just practicing casting spells and unbinding spells, and then you move. The Briar Queen has a shooting attack as well, which is critical. And then you go over to Sandria and do her hero phase and a movement, and then this playthrough goes on. So hero phase, movement, shooting, hero phase, movement, combat, because by here she gets into combat. So you do pile in, attack, you do damage, and then that's that. Groovy. So the turn sequence is hero phase, cast spell, unbind spell, movement, shooting, then combat. Pretty simple, eh? And then you got your bit here with the magic spell that she can cast, which everyone can cast, Arcane Bolt. And then if we have a look at the back, so issue 8, we get our Celestar Ballistia, your first war machine, plus a pot of Kantar Blue, which is a base paint. So what do you think of this issue? What do you think of the models as well? Because, you know, they're pretty damn sexy, to be honest, for ghosties. Let me know in the comments below, and always, as always, please make sure that you have subscribed, click the bell icon so you don't miss a video, and all the various links down below to support the channel in whichever way you can. And remember, any donations go straight to the content. So if you want me to get better, give me your money. And with that, I'll leave you alone. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.